The text message that destroyed 2 marriages and created a billionaire's wife was sold by the person she trusted most, her own brother, for $200,000 in cash. Lauren Sanchez had no idea that on July 3, 2018, while she was building what she thought was the love story of the century, her brother Michael was sitting in his apartment, copying her most intimate messages to his own phone. Messages that would soon be read by millions. Messages that would trigger the most expensive divorce in human history. Messages that would make her one of the most powerful women on earth and destroy her family forever. This isn't a story about a gold digger who got lucky. This is the story of a small-town news anchor with dyslexia who built her own aviation empire, fell in love with the world's richest man, and paid the ultimate price when the person closest to her chose money over blood. Because 6 years later, Lauren Sanchez just married Jeff Bezos in a $50 million Venice wedding. And her brother? He wasn't invited. Let me take you back to where this all began. Because to understand how a local TV anchor became a space-traveling philanthropist managing billions of dollars, you need to understand what she was running from. December 19th, 1969, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Lauren Wendy Sanchez enters the world into a family that already knows both ambition and heartbreak. Her father, Ray, owns 10 aircraft and runs flight training businesses. Her mother, Eleanor, serves as assistant deputy mayor of Los Angeles. But by the time Lauren turns 7, her parents' marriage crumbles. Here's where Lauren's story gets interesting. She doesn't go live with her successful parents. She goes to live with her grandmother, Elsie, a Mexican-American housekeeper who cleans other people's houses for a living. Picture this. Every weekend, little Lauren Sanchez follows her grandmother from mansion to mansion in Los Angeles, watching her scrub floors, dust furniture, make other people's lives easier. Years later, Lauren would say this experience taught her that service work makes someone's life easier, a philosophy that would shape how she approached everything from marriage to managing $10 billion in climate philanthropy. But here's what her grandmother couldn't fix. Lauren was failing in school, consistently. Teachers thought she wasn't smart enough. She thought she wasn't smart enough. It wasn't until college that a professor at El Camino College finally identified the problem: dyslexia. Imagine spending your entire childhood thinking you're stupid, only to discover your brain just processes information differently. Lauren later said, "When you have dyslexia, you're so used to failing at things. Once you get through that, nothing can stop you." That attitude? It's about to change everything. Lauren's working as a desk assistant at Cassiope TV while studying at USC. She's determined to prove herself in a business that judges women primarily on how they look on camera. But Lauren has something different. She has the work ethic her grandmother taught her, and she has the fearlessness that comes from already thinking you've failed at everything that matters. By 1999, she makes history. Lauren Sanchez becomes the first Hispanic female to anchor the 11 o'clock news in Los Angeles for UPN 13. She wins an Emmy Award that same year. She's co-hosting Fox's Good Day LA. She becomes the original host of So You Think You Can Dance. She's building something: a career, a reputation, a life. But here's where the story takes its first dramatic turn. Lauren gets pregnant, and she's forced off So You Think You Can Dance. The executives tell her, and I'm quoting directly here, she's pregnant. We've got to let her go. In 2003, this kind of discrimination was barely whispered about, let alone fought in court. Most people would see this as a setback. Lauren sees it as a sign. She's done being someone else's employee. At 40 years old, Lauren Sanchez makes a decision that will change her life forever. She's going to learn to fly helicopters. Now, this isn't just about conquering a fear, though that's part of it. In 2003, she was terrified of flying after a helicopter crash involving Jeff Bezos. Yes, they had mutual connections even then, but this is about something deeper. This is about Lauren deciding she's going to stop letting other people control her story. She spends months in intensive training. She earns her helicopter pilot license in 2016. And then she does something unprecedented. She founds Black Ops Aviation, the first female-owned and operated aerial film production company in Hollywood. Think about this for a second. In an industry dominated by men, Lauren creates a company that films aerial sequences for major Hollywood productions. Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk, Black Ops Aviation, Netflix Originals, Black Ops Aviation, Amazon Productions, Black Ops Aviation. And here's where fate intervenes. In 2018, Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' space company, needs aerial filming for their launches. They hire Black Ops Aviation. They hire Lauren. Now, Officially, Lauren Sanchez met Jeff Bezos in December 2016 at an Apple party for the movie Manchester by the Sea. They were introduced by Lauren's husband, Patrick Whitesell, one of Hollywood's most powerful talent agents, representing stars like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Picture this scene. Lauren, married 14 years to a man who represents A-list celebrities. Jeff, married 25 years to Mackenzie Scott, his partner since Amazon was just an idea in a garage. Both successful, both seemingly happy in their marriages. But something happens in that introduction. Some spark, some recognition, some invisible shift in the universe that sets everything else in motion. For 2 years, their relationship remains professional. Black Ops Aviation works with Blue Origin. Lauren films Jeff's space launches. They develop what everyone assumes is a business relationship. But by 2018, something has changed. The text messages start innocent enough. Business discussions about flight schedules, launch dates, technical requirements. But gradually, they become more personal, more revealing, more intimate. "I want to smell you," Jeff texts. "I want to breathe you in." Lauren responds with messages equally revealing, equally passionate, equally dangerous for two married people whose combined worth is approaching $200 billion. Neither of them knows that every single message is being read by someone else. Lauren's brother, Michael Sanchez. Michael isn't just any brother. He's a Hollywood talent manager himself, connected to the same industry circles as Lauren and Patrick. He's someone Lauren trusts completely, someone who has access to her phone, her messages, her most private thoughts. And Michael has a problem. He needs money. The National Enquirer has a problem too. They need stories, big stories, career-defining stories that sell magazines and generate global headlines. On July 3, 2018, Michael Sanchez makes a decision that will echo through history. He opens his sister's phone, finds her text messages with Jeff Bezos, and copies them to his own device.
Lauren has no idea.
Jeff has no idea. For months, they continue their secret relationship, thinking they're being careful, thinking they're being discreet, thinking the only risk is getting caught by their spouses.
They have no idea they've already been sold.
Michael doesn't just hand over a few messages. He provides the National Enquirer with a comprehensive dossier, text messages spanning months, photos, detailed information about their meetings, their travel schedules, their secret rendezvous. The National Enquirer pays him $200,000 in cash. For comparison, that's more than most Americans make in 4 years. That's the price Michael puts on his sister's privacy, her marriage, her entire future. But here's what makes this betrayal even more devastating. Michael doesn't just take the money and disappear. He continues living his life as Lauren's trusted brother. He attends family gatherings. He offers advice about her relationship. He pretends to care about her happiness, all while knowing he sold her to the wolves. December 2018. Lauren and Jeff are getting bolder, thinking they're getting away with their secret. They travel together more openly. They take more risks. They make plans for a future neither of their spouses knows about. January 8, 2019. Jeff Bezos posts a message on Twitter announcing his divorce from Mackenzie Scott. They're calling it amicable. They're framing it as a mutual decision after a long period of loving exploration and trial separation. The world assumes this is just another celebrity divorce. Expensive, but not scandalous. They assume wrong. January 9, 2019. Less than 24 hours after Jeff announces his divorce, the National Enquirer publishes a story that stops the world. The headline reads, "Bezos exposes pecker." But that's not the shocking part. The shocking part is what's inside. The National Enquirer claims they've tracked Bezos across 5 states and 40,000 miles with his mistress. They have intimate text messages. They have photos. They have evidence of an affair that's been going on for over a year. And they name names. Lauren Sanchez, Black Ops Aviation, Hollywood connections, private jets, secret meetings. In one day, Lauren goes from a successful businesswoman having a private relationship to the most famous other woman in the world. But wait, it gets worse. 3 weeks later, the National Enquirer contacts Jeff Bezos directly. They don't want more money. They want something more valuable. Silent. They tell him they have nude photos of him, a below-the-belt selfie, and images of Lauren revealing her cleavage. They'll publish everything unless he stops investigating how they got his private messages.
This is where most people would panic.
Most people would pay. Most people would do whatever it took to keep their most intimate moments private. Jeff Bezos does the opposite. February 7th, 2019. Bezos publishes a blog post on Medium titled, "No Thank You, Mr. Pecker." He exposes the entire blackmail scheme. He publishes the actual emails from the National Enquirer. He calls their bluff despite what he calls the personal cost and embarrassment they threaten. In one move, Bezos transforms himself from adulterer to hero, from scandal to victim, from embarrassment to empowerment.
But what about Lauren?
She doesn't have the luxury of controlling the narrative. She doesn't have a blog with millions of readers. She doesn't have the world's largest tech company to provide cover. She has something else. She has a brother who sold her out, and she's about to find out. The investigation into how the National Enquirer got those messages doesn't take long. Forensic analysis of the texts, metadata examination, source tracing. Within weeks, all evidence points to one person, Michael Sanchez. Imagine Lauren's world in that moment. The brother she trusted with her life, the brother who knew her children, the brother who attended her family gatherings, the brother who pretended to care about her happiness, had sold her most intimate secrets for cash. But here's what makes this betrayal even more complete. When the investigation reveals Michael's role, he doesn't apologize. He doesn't confess. He doesn't beg for forgiveness. He denies everything, and then he sues Jeff Bezos for defamation. Voice becomes harder, more matter of fact. Let me tell you what happens when you betray someone who becomes engaged to the world's richest man. Michael Sanchez loses his defamation case completely. Jeff Bezos wins. And in 2025, 6 years later, he and Lauren are still pursuing legal fees from Michael. They won $182,374 in legal costs. That's almost as much as Michael got for selling out his sister in the first place. But money isn't the real punishment. The real punishment is exile. June 27, 2025, Venice, Italy. Lauren Sanchez marries Jeff Bezos in what may be the most expensive wedding in human history. $50 million, 3 days of celebrations. The Basilica of San Giorgio Maggiore. Custom Dolce & Gabbana gowns, requiring 18 months to create 200 celebrity guests including Bill Gates, Leonardo DiCaprio, and the entire Jenner family. Lauren's parents attend, her children attend, her ex-husband Patrick Whitesell's children attend, even Tony Gonzalez, the father of her eldest child, attends with his current wife. But two people are notably absent, Michael Sanchez and their mother Eleanor. Because when you sell out your family for $200,000, you lose your family forever. But here's what Michael couldn't sell, what the National Enquirer couldn't destroy, what the scandal couldn't touch: Lauren's ability to rebuild herself into something even more powerful than before. The divorce settlement from Jeff's marriage to Mackenzie Scott becomes one of the largest in history, $38 billion. Mackenzie takes her money and gives most of it away, over $19 billion donated to charity in just 6 years. Lauren takes a different approach. She builds. She keeps Black Ops Aviation running and profitable. She writes a children's book about dyslexia that becomes a New York Times bestseller. Remember, this is from someone who thought she was stupid because she couldn't read properly as a child. She earns her place as vice chair of the Bezos Earth Fund, managing $10 billion in climate initiatives. And in April 2025, she makes history again. Lauren Sanchez becomes one of the first female journalists to fly to space on Blue Origin's all-female mission, alongside Katy Perry and Gayle King. Think about that trajectory. From local news anchor with dyslexia to space traveler managing billions in philanthropy. That's not luck. That's not just marrying rich. That's someone who rebuilt herself into exactly who she was meant to be. But success doesn't erase betrayal, and power doesn't heal family wounds. Lauren publishes her children's book and immediately gets sued. A yoga instructor named Alana Zabel claims Lauren stole the concept and retaliated against her for resigning. The lawsuit is filed just days before Lauren's Venice wedding. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe Lauren's success continues to make her a target. Restaurant owner Keith McNally calls Lauren absolutely revolting and fucking smug on Instagram. After she visits his New York restaurant, celebrities like Chrissy Teigen defend her, calling her incredibly dynamic, accomplished, and kind. Even now, even after everything she's built, Lauren Sanchez remains polarizing. Some people see a successful businesswoman who survived betrayal and built an empire. Others see someone who broke up a marriage and bought her way into respectability. But here's what both sides miss. Lauren Sanchez represents something uniquely American: the possibility of complete reinvention at any stage of life. She was 49 years old when the scandal broke. 49, an age when most people think their story is already written, their identity already fixed, their future already determined. Lauren looked at the wreckage of her life, her marriage destroyed, her family fractured, her reputation in ruins, and decided to build something better. She didn't just survive the scandal, she used it as fuel. She didn't just find love again, she found partnership with someone who could amplify her impact on the world. She didn't just recover from her brother's betrayal, she created a life so fulfilling that his absence became irrelevant. Today, Lauren Sanchez manages charitable giving that will total $10 billion by 2030. She owns a company that films for major Hollywood productions. She's written best-selling books that help children with learning disabilities. She's traveled to space and back. She lives between an $11 million Beverly Hills mansion, a $78 million Hawaiian estate, and a $500 million super yacht. More importantly, she's created a blended family of 7 children who seem genuinely happy. Her relationship with Tony Gonzalez, the father of her eldest son, is so positive that he and his current wife are considered Lauren's best friends. They celebrate holidays together. They support each other's children. Even her relationship with ex-husband Patrick Whitesell has evolved into respectful co-parenting. Their daughter Ella served as maid of honor at Lauren's Venice wedding, wearing a custom Dolce & Gabbana suit and beaming with pride. The only relationship that remains broken, the one with her brother Michael. And maybe that's the real lesson of Lauren Sanchez's story. That betrayal can destroy you, or it can show you exactly who deserves to be in your life. That family isn't just about blood, it's about loyalty, trust, and choosing each other every single day. That success isn't about avoiding scandal. It's about what you build after the world watches you fall apart. Lauren Sanchez lost a brother for $200,000. But she gained something infinitely more valuable, the knowledge that she could survive anything, rebuild from nothing, and create a life so extraordinary that the people who tried to destroy her become footnotes in her story. Because 6 years after the National Enquirer published those text messages, Lauren is flying to space, managing billions in charity, and married to the love of her life in a $50 million Italian wedding. And Michael is still waiting for his legal bills to be paid. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. Sometimes the best revenge is becoming so successful that betrayal becomes irrelevant. Sometimes the best revenge is winning so completely that your enemies disappear into the footnotes of your extraordinary life. That's the real story of Lauren Sanchez, not the woman who was betrayed for $200,000, but the woman who turned that betrayal into a $1 billion love story.